Hello, I'm here with CFMEU President Tony Maher. Hi Tony, how are you?
G'day.
So what is your reaction to the federal government's carbon tax?
Well, I think it's a good plan. We do need a carbon price, and it's a moderate thing, but it seems to have the support, enough support to get through Parliament, which the last scheme didn't. So I think we're on our way.
And do you think this carbon price is sufficient enough to kind of force bigger industries to adapt to new technologies?
I think it will. It's important that we clean up industries rather than close them down, and there is a lot of incentive for businesses to reduce their permit liability. It's like a tax liability, and I'm sure that their engineers and accountants will be working overtime to reduce the amount of pay. This is a tax we want them to avoid.
Yep. And so we obviously have major coal and steel industries here in the Illawarra. How do you think this carbon tax is going to affect jobs in the local region?
Well, I don't think it will have any impact on jobs because of the assistance that's part of the package. Very generous assistance in the steel industry and the coal industry. In the coal industry, it's limited to the gassy mines, and there are several gassy mines in the Illawarra. And they should use that money to invest in the technology to reduce the methane emissions. That's what the scheme's meant to do. So hopefully the companies do that rather than pocket the money.
And will you be keeping a watchdog eye on the companies to kind of ensure that they do try and employ these new methods?
Oh, absolutely. I've got no doubt that when the bill goes through Parliament, that they'll settle down and get on with the job. At the moment, they're campaigning to stop the legislation going through, but there's no point once it's gone through.
And so, what watchdog role will you do to ensure that the federal government kind of keep their end of the bargain in supporting the big industries?
Oh, well, we're in constant communication with business and the government on this issue, and I've been on the round table advising the government, and it's not likely that they'll change any aspect of the package. If they did, they would have some serious problems. We gave conditional support to this package, and it was conditional on the industry assistance that's part of it.
And were there any other conditional factors going into this agreement?
No. So long as industry assistance, which supports jobs, was part of the package, then we would support it. Yeah.
And do you think the Illawarra region will see any changes to the community if we do employ new technologies such as solar power, energy or wind turbine farms?
Yeah, it'll be a gradual change, and that's as it should be. If it was a rapid change, then that's when you get social dislocation. But we can handle gradual change, investment in new technology, without adverse consequences. And let's face it, that's what 33 other countries have done around the world. There's not one example that Tony Abbott can point to where an emissions trading scheme was introduced and it wrecked jobs. It just has never happened.
And are there any concerns of your own that the Illawarra region might have after employing these new technologies at all?
Well, business is always a challenge, and the high Aussie dollar is what's got our manufacturing sector under the pump, and you don't know what's around the corner in the business world. So there are no long-term guarantees, but the assistance we've got now enables us to cope with the change of a carbon price, which is a change to the economics of all businesses, but it's been introduced in a way that takes into account the sort of economy we've got.
And today the big job loss in the 1980s was brought up in the Illawarra region. Yep. Do you think we could have a big impact like that on job loss in the future?
Well, that can always happen because that was, global downturn, and we survived the global downturn of a couple of years ago. One of the reasons why we need to introduce a carbon price is to put us in a better shape to be more resilient for future downturns. So, you don't know what's around the corner, but there's no prospect of this carbon scheme bringing about that sort of devastating effect.
And so the coal industry has kind of been encouraged to go more towards renewable energies. Do you think we'll still have a strong coal industry in the Illawarra in the next 20 years?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a precious resource. It's the best coking coal in the world, and It's close to a port. It's got low transport costs, so it's got a strong future. The coking coal it produces commands the highest prices in the world. So they are making billions of dollars. Every mine worker represents $1 million profit for the coal companies. So they're not going to be changing that anytime soon.
So you think the coal industry will continue to grow over the next few years?
Oh, absolutely. The government forecaster in the resources sector, ABARE, forecasts that the industry will double by mid-century. So that's not a struggling industry.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.